Hi, and welcome to another episode of MA's podcast. With me today, we've got a really special guest. He is an ex-professional fighter with over 80 fights under his belt and also a coach to Muay Thai Muppets. Welcome, Jason Woodham.
That mate, you good?
How you
Nice
doing?
little setup
All right.
you got here.
It is. It
Very
is
nice.
a nice little setup, isn't
It's good. You have a little open fire. It's a bit hot though.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell the listeners or the viewers a little bit more about who
Yeah.
Jason is?
Well, Jason Woodham from UK originally.
Hmm.
Moved out here 10 years ago. Worked for a few gyms here and there. And then we started up the Muay Thai Muppets 5 years ago here, partnering with Gym Nation. But then obviously before that, my story goes back 25 years now. I've been training
25
Muay
years.
Thai, yeah.
Okay.
Since 1999.
Oh, nice.
I'll tell you the month as well, September. Don't know
Yeah.
why they ever stuck in my head. But September 99 I started. And
Okay.
it's that typical thing of like when you walk in the gym, I just saw it all going on. I was like, oh, this is for me.
Yeah.
I just loved it. I was watching Jackie Chan films and all that. And I thought, now I could copy it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I can be like Jackie Chan. And yeah, just went from there. Lived in the UK for 9 years, fighting all of the best fighters in the UK. Managed to get to about 6 or 7 in the UK rankings
Wow.
in all different weight classes. And then moved to Thailand in 2009. Spent 3 years there.
Mhm.
That was when I racked up most of my fights. I had about 50 fights in 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was
fighting
that,
all the
like a
time.
fight every weekend or something like
Pretty
that?
much. That's
Yeah.
I remember one time I fought in a tournament on a Friday, so that was 2 fights, and then
Okay.
fought on the Sunday, so that's 3 fights in a
Oh,
weekend, which is quite
Wow.
quite common now with the amateur championships and stuff.
Yeah,
you can
but
have
that's
3
like
fights.
with
It's
pads
pro
and
fights,
everything,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and then fighting abroad quite a lot,
Wow.
and yeah, and then moved back to England for a year, and then came out here, started my coaching career.
So what came up with the decision and the fact that, oh, you're just going to move to Thailand and you're going to fight over there?
I just sort of got to a point where I'd fought everybody in my weight class in the UK. It's won some, lost some, fought some
Mhm.
guys in higher weight classes. Sometimes I went down to like 67 kilos, which is probably my better weight class now looking back. And then, yeah, I was sort of like just stuck. I was just driving a forklift just to make ends meet. But I was doing that for like 8 years. And I was like, 8 years, it's gone so quick. I'm 26 already. And I started there when I was 17. I'd already
wow.
found Thai boxing at 15.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really worried about a career. I just needed
Mhm.
something to make money so I could go training every night.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't know what to do this for. So I actually tried out for the fire service. That's
Mhm.
what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I managed to bugger that up and mess up the fitness test, would you believe it?
no.
Passed all the bleep tests and everything, but there was one dexterity test at the end, and I've done a tube up and missed a coil.
Oh, no.
It was just like really stupid. Like it was like I can't even remember what it was now. But then you had to wait another year to apply again.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's it now. It's either stay here, stay in this factory, or go and do this Thai boxing thing properly. So then I just spoke to my dad, and he was like, yeah, if you want to do it, then do it seriously. Whatever money you've got, and whatever like little, because I have some debts, some like overdraft and stuff, as you
Yeah.
do when you're younger.
Yeah.
He said, clear that, and then I'll double it, and you just go out to Thailand for as long as you can. So
Awesome.
I spent like the next 6-7 months clearing all my debt, staying in, saving money, and I flew out
Nice.
to Thailand. Originally, I was only supposed to go for 3 months.
And then?
yeah, I just stayed.
You did?
Yeah, the gym owner at Lamai Muay Thai,
Okay.
Ralph, he said, he had a look at my visa. He said, oh, you got a 3-month visa, but it's a 3-month multiple entry visa, which means every time I left, I got another 3 months for a whole
Oh,
year.
nice. Okay.
So I didn't need to change it. So he said, if you don't, you've got nothing to go back for, just stay. We'll just keep getting your fights and let's see where we can take this.
Oh, nice. So is
That's
that,
been 2.5
you
years,
said
3
Lamai
years.
Gym is where
Yeah,
you...
Lamai Muay Thai, yeah.
And where's that exactly?
In Koh Samui.
In Koh Samui. Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. And
Yeah,
you
it's
think you've improved a lot in the...
Yeah, so much.
And so-
even in the first 2 months I was there, improved a lot.
Yeah.
Because going from doing it from as you know, you've been in the UK, most sessions are 1.5 hours, 2 hours.
Yeah, that's
And
true, yeah.
sometimes you can't make it every single night because life gets in the way.
Yeah.
So you're lucky if you can get 10 hours training in a week.
Yeah.
When you're in Thailand, you're doing 4 or 5 hours a day, and that's it. And that's all you're doing. You've got nothing else to worry about. So you wake up in
It's
the
a
morning,
morning
train.
session, yeah.
Yeah, wake up in the morning, training, running, clinching, sparring, bag work, pads, and then you just have your breakfast and go to sleep, and then just wait for your next training session. So you've just literally got just that to focus on. So you've got no option apart from to get better.
Yeah. So it's just like train, Eat, sleep, repeat.
That's it.
Every single time.
Nothing else to worry about.
Yeah, I
It's
suppose.
perfect.
Yeah. And then when the fights came along, how did you know that? On what weight was your fight sat, for example?
Well, looking back now and I look at pictures, I could have probably made 63 kilos, 63.5.
63?
Yeah, because I used to walk around
You're
about
taller than me as well.
Yeah,
I struggle getting into
I used to walk around
63.
about 69, 70.
Oh wow.
So if I'd actually went on like a diet with the nutrition advisor is out there now, and how to cut weight and stuff,
Yeah.
I could have easily got down to 63.5. But because I'm 6 foot, I used to just fight at 70 because I never used to give height away, but everyone was massive.
Yeah.
So I'd give everyone in like the top end of the scale a good fight, but I just couldn't beat them because I wasn't big enough. When I used to fight down at 65 or 67, I used to do really well. But like I say, like having 50 odd fights in 2.5 years, 3 years, I was just fighting whoever, whenever, you know.
Yeah.
And I needed the money. So if you got a fight abroad, most fights abroad are like $1,000, which back then was 30,000 baht. So you never turned them down, you know. It's like if you get an opportunity to jump in on a show, you just jumped in and just did it.
Absolutely.
Whatever weight.
And what stadium were you fighting in?
In Samui, we was trained in Petbanchar and what's the other one called? Chawang Stadium. So that was like your little, you could sort of say like warm-up fights. They were never really, really hard fights, but they were the ones that sort of kept you ticking over. And like your learning fights, and then you'd get your bigger fights abroad and stuff like that.
And what was your bigger fights?
The bigger ones were in Hong Kong. When I used to fight in the I1. They were quite good fights. Yeah. And they did it well because they sort of were trying to fix the weight cutting problems. They were doing check weights 2 days before.
2 days, yeah.
So you had like 2 days to recover. That was their idea of it. But what it did was like the bigger, massive guys just used to lose 10, more weight.
Kilos.
Yeah. So me, I was like, oh, cool, I can do this. So I used to fight at 65 kilos over there. And I did really well. So I was fighting people like that big. You know, I'm like,
yeah,
like
literally.
And then I thought, oh, well, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, because when you fight people who are too big, it's not that they're hurting you anymore. It's just that your shots are just sort of bouncing off of theirs. And it's just like, it's demoralizing after one. It makes you tired. It's like hitting a heavy bag. Yeah. If you've got a really light punch bag, it's easy to work. When you've got a big heavy bag, it's like, oh.
Absolutely.
You know? So it's the same. Absolutely. So those shows are big. Fought in Cambodia quite a lot. One time, 4 of us went to Cambodia and we had such good fights, they gave us an extra $1,000.
Okay.
We got 60,000 baht, all 4 of us.
Oh,
that was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, everywhere. Iran, Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, nice. You've been all over, huh?
Yeah, Mongolia.
Mongolia as well.
Uzbekistan.
Oh, nice.
I've got it written down somewhere. There's loads of places we went to.
So you're saying basically that the heavier weight you fight in, the more tired you get?
Yeah, because my shots are not having any effect on them. Yeah. And then when they hit me, it was like being hit by a truck, you know. That's the only time I've ever been knocked out cold was when I fought at 72.5.
72, which is, I suppose, heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah. Like, imagine now I'm only 78, 76 now.
Oh, yeah. I'm 78, 76.
It's like 15 years later.
Yeah.
You know, so 72.5, I had no business there.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I ever got knocked out cold in Malaysia on a TV show. A reality TV show they did.
Oh, no.
I was out before I hit the deck. That was nice.
All right. Yeah. I've been there. I've been there. It's not a nice feeling.
That's not so bad. It's better than taking a body shock, because at least you're asleep and you just wake up.
Yeah.
When you get knocked out of a body shot, you got to lay there and suffer that in front of everybody.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
But actually getting knocked out cold, the first time and only ever time it happened to me, I was a bit like, boom, and you wake up, you're like, what happened there?
Yeah.
It's a strange feeling.
Confusing.
Feeling. Yeah.
Very confusing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But,
so then you had that career, and then you decided you're just going to be opening Muay Thai Muppets.
Yeah, that was a little while later. I went back to England for a year.
Okay.
I had 3 more fights, one in Belgium, tournament in Sweden, then a world title fight. No, world title fight in Austria, again at 72.5. I don't know why I did that. And then one more fight in Belgium. That was my last proper fight when I said, okay, I'm going to call it a day now. So I sort of just got to a level where I could sort of beat people who were set up B plus fighters. But then when he was getting up to the A class fighters and A plus, I just wasn't good enough. I just didn't want to just float around just fighting for the sake of fighting. Yeah. So now I just said to myself, right, okay, I'm only 30, but I just ain't good enough to get anywhere else with this. So I'm just going to call it a day. And I'd already had like 86 fights, 50 odd fights in 3 years.
Yeah.
And if anyone's ever seen my fights, they're not like slow paced.
No, I've
The
seen it,
fight,
yeah,
so
of course.
it took its toll. But then and then we came here, and just started coaching here. In a few gyms. Originally, I came out. I spoke to Tam Khan because he's a friend
Okay.
from Southend.
Yeah.
He's used to train at the MMA gym downstairs from us in
Okay.
England, so I knew him. We went to his original gym, Glory MMA.
Mhm.
Then they had some problems. They shut down. We went to another gym,
Mhm.
and again they had some problems with the other owners. This the Dubai thing, you know. It's like
Yeah,
sometimes you get involved with people and you don't get on down the line. It's like
That's true.
normal business.
Yeah,
It happens.
absolutely.
And then I stayed at that gym for a while because my visa was already with the other partner.
Mhm.
And then that gym closed down. And then I went to Tam at TK, just a bit of freelancing. And then eventually Gym Nation opened up and they had combat areas. And
Okay.
I had my own trade license by that
Nice.
time. So I'd already opened up my own little trade license to do my own PTs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just contacted them and said, have you got anyone using the combat areas? Would you like to have a chat about maybe partnering up? I'll do the classes in there. We can do a split on the revenue or whatever.
Awesome.
And went down there and met them, and it turned out it was two really nice blokes, one from England and one from New Zealand, Frank and Lauren.
Okay.
And we just got on like house on fire straight away. It was mates
Great.
straight away, you know.
Yeah.
It's just everything's been super easy since. So that was
Oh, nice.
5 years ago, and we've got
Oh, wow.
five gyms on the go now.
Oh,
All
great.
different coaches in, yeah.
Growing business, huh?
Yeah, it's doing
That's
good.
great.
I hope we're going to go out to Saudi as well.
And I'm seeing a lot of Saudi as well, yeah? There's a lot of things that are happening over there now, isn't there? I think in
exactly,
Saudi.
yeah.
They've got a lot of projects happening. So, yeah, I've seen I've been following you obviously on Instagram. I've been seeing a lot of things that's been going on with the Muay Thai Muppets community growing.
Yeah.
And you've got a couple of fighters that are actually fighting out in shows like Kuwait. You've got one championships and all of that, yeah? So how do you prep him for a fight?
Well, we started off with just a few fighters that were doing local shows here, and then eventually the UAE Muay Thai Federation was formed, and they started doing amateur events.
Yeah,
and then that was when I could sort of show everybody my actual coaching skills, because all I can teach a group, and we have a good community, and we can teach beginners. I can actually teach people how to fight really well because I've got a lot of experience. So that was when we started getting noticed, and then more and more fighters were coming to train with us. And initially, they were just joining in on a group class, and I was just getting them to do extra stuff. Then I was like, "No, you lot need to be doing more, really." So we decided between them, because a lot of them are doing their own personal training jobs or other different jobs or whatever. So I asked 4 or 5 of them, what would be a good time to train? And they all agreed about 11 a.m., which was good. So what we do is we train at 11, and then it mixes it into the group class as well.
okay.
So at 11 o'clock, they all come in. They do shadow boxing or skipping, depending on what day it is. Then a few technical drills. Again, depending on what day it is. I've got it all up on the board. So Mondays we'll do. And again, it's complicated because they do kickboxing shows and Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So we have to train them different
Yeah.
for the kickboxing and the Muay Thai.
Sure.
So once we get them, if there's a Muay Thai event coming up, we'll do a lot of clinching.
Yeah.
So every day we'll clinch.
Yeah.
But then one day we'll do boxing sparring, which is normally on a Tuesday. And then Thursdays, full sparring. But every day they'll be doing clinching.
Oh, nice.
So if they're doing boxing sparring, that day we'll do a lot of boxing drills,
Yeah.
counter drills, footwork, etc. And then they spar. And then they'll do the pads and bag work in the class with the group. So actually the 12 p.m. class are growing with the fighters each week, because they're doing sort of a lot of stuff the fighters are doing.
Yeah.
So each one of their sessions is about 2 hours. And like I say, depending whether they're doing Muay Thai or kickboxing is how the schedule's going to go.
Yeah. Right. And you've seen the growth of UAE Muay Thai. And do you reckon it's going in the right direction? Or there's a little confusion between the kickboxing and the Muay Thai? Or is
It's good. It's like I say, I've been here 10 years. There was nothing when I got here. I think the only people that were doing events were KO Gym in the Marina.
Yeah.
And they were like 1 or 2 a year maybe. And that was it, like professional shows. But the UAE Muay Thai Federation is doing really well with all the stuff they're doing. They put on a kickboxing event.
Yeah.
And then next one will be a Muay Thai event.
Okay.
Which is good, know. But it's we just need a few more professional events, really.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. I know it's difficult because I've promoted shows before, and it's like if you put a professional event on, you have to sell all the tickets. You have to get somebody that's going to sell lots of tickets, etc. So it's not so easy. But hopefully we can keep building on the amateurs and get them a little profile. and build them up as like characters, and then they will have a following, and then they can go on to the professional events, and they can bring their friends, and they'll have some fans, and we can fill these little shows up and have a few more.
Yeah.
You don't remember when people were talking about Dubai? Some people were like, Dubai is not a country; it's just a city.
The amount of times I've had that conversation.
It's just a city. It's just a small city.
That's right.
So like to get like lots and lots of shows on all the time is going to be difficult because there's so much going on as well. Like tonight, if we go now on like platinum list, there'll be like amazing things going on on a Sunday.
For sure.
Like in the UK, if there's a Thai boxing show going on in my hometown in Southend, that's the best thing that's happened for about a year.
Yeah.
So you can fill it up, you know. So it's always that little cat and mouse game here with the Muay Thai. But I think it's getting more popular, especially with like one championship and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of gyms now as well, which is good.
Yeah, a little bit of the Eastern culture is affecting us towards improving the sport of Muay Thai. And for those who don't know, can you tell them the difference between what Muay Thai is and what kickboxing is? Yeah,
so basically the basic thing of Muay Thai and kickboxing. Muay Thai, you're allowed to use the elbows and the knees, but the knees and you're allowed to grab. And basically you can hold and clinch and wrestle standing up and kneeing. You could do that for the whole round as long as there's action going on.
Yeah.
And Muay Thai used to be was 5 3-minute rounds, and kickboxing was 3-minute rounds. But there's a lot of modified rules now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of 3-minute rounds. So basically the main thing is the elbows and the clinching.
Okay.
And the tempo of kickboxing is a little bit different as well. So kickboxing, you can take kicks on the arms, and if you kick on the arm and you counter back, it's like an even exchange. But in Thai boxing, if you get kicked on the arm, that's a bigger score.
Okay.
You know, so you have to be blocking the kicks with your shin and leaning out of the way, and it's more about like protecting your points.
Okay.
But kickboxing is like you got to be there on each other, and it's a little bit faster pace.
Yeah.
Different tempo, different combinations, and some things just don't work in Thai boxing or would in kickboxing because of the elbow as well. You can make longer combinations and sit in the pocket in kickboxing because you haven't got to be worried about being elbowed.
Yeah.
But in Thai boxing, if you sat your feet down and made a boxing combination, someone boop, elbow or knee up to the face, grab the head.
Absolutely.
There's a little bit different tempo and strategies involved.
Yeah. And you were just talking about actually between 5 rounds and 3 rounds. Nowadays, you see a lot of shows that want, like knockout styles. I guess that's why they try and compress it and keep it a bit higher tempo. And I guess that's something to do with old school Muay Thai and new school Muay Thai, isn't it? Because old school Muay Thai is like first couple of rounds is just having a feel around it and everything. What do you think of how the Muay Thai direction is going with that?
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. I've always known, because there's always people have said to me, why is this Thai boxing thing not bigger? And I always knew, like, one, people don't like the music that's playing, because they have like a band playing that like plays like, and basically in the olden days, that was what they fought at war with for rhythm. So now they use it for rhythm. And as the fight goes on, it gets faster. Yeah. And at the beginning of the fight, there's the Ram Muay Y crew where they do like a dance to respect their teacher's teacher and bless the ring and stuff, which I like it. I like all the culture and stuff of the Muay Thai, and I grew up with it, you know. I had all the this little armband and that Moncorn and stuff. I grew up with it all, but I always knew that was what was holding it back. Because like all my family and friends just come and watch me fight, and you could see like every fight, even like novices were doing the dance before. Yeah, getting in the ring, sealing the ring. You walk around the ring with your hand on the ropes, and you seal the ring to keep people's spirits out and stuff like this. It just stalls the action. It's just boring for people. You know. So I've always known that was what was holding it back. So now these bigger shows like One Championship, and I think even sometimes on RWS like Rajdam Nern and stuff. I think they're doing the Ram Muays before now. Like before the event starts, getting the fighters in to do it.
Oh, nice.
They do that at Lumpini, one Lumpini. So the fighters come in before the event starts, and they all get in the ring, do their Ram Muay, and then it's done. Okay. And no one sees it. And then they just get in the ring, touch gloves, button, and then they fight. You know, and that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
And with the 5 rounds as well, it was good before in the 90s, before the gambling took over, because it's all to do with gambling in Thailand. Yeah. So the first 2 rounds, the gamblers are sort of seeing who's going to be the one that's going to get the edge of the fight. So they don't want to give away too much. So the first 2 rounds were always slow. Then it goes off 3rd round, 4th round. They normally know who's won by the 5th, and they like sort of protect their points. Yeah, absolutely. And again, that was holding it back. Yeah. That's when One Championship came in, and they said, right, you lot are fighting 3 rounds now. It's the best out of 3. And that's it.
Like, and you got the ref to tell them to keep that pace up.
Keep going. And it's Muay Thai. All the techniques are allowed. Sweeps, everything. They actually did that for the first, I think, even couple of years. And then they decided to put the MMA gloves on. So the MMA gloves is not what they initially went with. They had gloves on first. And then they went, mate, it's even better. Let's put them in MMA gloves as well. And then it's just skyrocketed from there.
Yeah.
But for me, that's not even really Muay Thai anymore. It's something different.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But it's good. You know, they've
gives you a show.
Yeah, like One Championship, they're a marketing machine. Like the geezers that are owning it are business moguls. So they've taken something that was really, really good, all the good bits of it, and put it into one, and now it's huge.
Yeah.
But it's still a market for the traditional Muay Thai as well, with the Rajnam Nern shows and Channel 7 and stuff, because it's still good to watch for people that like that also. But if you want to watch like high-level fights with lots of knockouts, everyone's watching one now.
That's right.
They're throwing out bonuses left, right, and centre also.
Absolutely. And it's like seeing between, I think, new school Muay Thai, I think they're a little bit more on their toes, correct me if I'm wrong, than say, for example, if we put a UK fighter with a Thai fighter. The Thai fighter is usually flat on his feet, right?
Yeah.
He's not on his toes, almost like a kickboxing style. And maybe that's the new school of Muay Thai growing.
A little bit. They've got to be a little bit quicker because you can't rely on shelling up or covering up from the shots because of the MMA gloves. So you have to sort of move your head and like be quick, and you have to engage first. Before the Thais could sort of sit back and ride stuff on their gloves and then kick, but now they can't because the punches are going through because they've only got small gloves on.
Yeah.
So they're having to be first.
What is it, 4 ounces?
Yeah. So now it's like you have to engage first, like hit and then move, and then combination, hit and then move, and then move your head and kick. You can't make a show anymore like that because punches are going through. So it's made.
So
the
it's
pace
no
a lot
longer
faster.
the judges scoring based on the other person walking them down. It's more like if you effective.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically hit and don't get hit.
Yeah,
it's kind of changing into that kickboxing stuff, but just a little bit. But you can't do anything about it because you got 4 ounce gloves and touch.
So you can't shell up and like kickboxing is a bit like they shell up. I go, you go. I go, you go. And like there's a lot more to it than that. But that's what it looks like sometimes. But you can't do that in the MMA gloves.
No, you can't.
You can't. You see it in MMA. They never. No one ever makes a shell in MMA. They're moving all the time.
That's true. Yeah.
You know. But now when it's just striking, you can't take anyone down.
Yeah.
You got to be there and move your head and kick and punch off the center line.
Absolutely.
Like all the little tricks and stuff.
And because Muay Thai is a growing sport, and kickboxing as well, there's a lot of people are wondering how to cut weight. Now, there's a lot of documentaries out there seeing how they're cutting weights based on, either their water intake or like losing water or stuff like that. But what would you advise someone in towards cutting weight, for example?
First of all, I'd advise getting a nutritionist straight away.
Yeah,
we've had a lot of guys try and do it themselves, and like I've only got limited knowledge. Like I'm a coach at the end of the day. I'm not a nutritionist. So there is nutritionists out there. There's a guy called Peter Miller, Condition Nutrition. He does a lot of the guys on One Championship.
Okay,
and I've been with him when he's done the weight cut for two of my lads. And the stuff they're doing is like down to a science, like it's down to a T. You know, they know what weight they start at. And then they're getting down to like, normally they want them 10% away from the fight weight before they start the water cut and stuff like that. Stuff like I didn't know that before, you know. So if you're fighting at 63, you need to be 70 kilos at least before you start the water cut.
Okay.
You know, so you use the 10% of 70 kilos.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff going into it. But with the conditioned nutrition that Peter does, they're still eating like nice food and they're not starving themselves. You know, it's just calorie intake and carbs and stuff.
So basically, you're saying don't keep it till the last minute.
No, it's got to
have
be
something within 2-3 months at least, so you can feel good.
2 months at least.
2 months at least.
And don't blow up in between fights.
Yeah,
especially because sometimes you get a call up 6 weeks before, and if you're like 15 kilos off your fight weight, you're not going to make it.
No.
So you need to be sensible in between the fights, especially as a Muay Thai fighter, because you never know when you're going to get called up. It's not like boxing where you're going to get 3 months notice.
Yeah.
You're like a high level boxer, I mean, but in Muay Thai and kickboxing, you need to keep busy to get your resume out. So if you're going down weight, like cutting weight properly, you need to keep sort of there, you know, all the time.
Okay.
Not let yourself get too blown up.
Got it. Okay. And summary, if someone comes and asks you, what does it take to be a professional fighter and to be a successful professional fighter, actually?
It's like anything. It's discipline. Discipline. Desire. You have to really, really want it.
Okay.
You know, I'd advise everybody to have like an inter-club fight first.
Yeah.
And if they're really, really buzzing from that, and then the coach sees that you've got something, then give it your all. There's no other choice. It's not like going to play like football on a Sunday or whatever. Like this is like a hard sport.
Yeah, it is.
You know, but if you give it everything and take as much information anywhere you can from anybody, YouTube, other fighters in the gym or whatever, and just watch people train, even if you're injured or anything, you just got to be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And once you're obsessed with it, then the skills will come, you know, and the experience will come, and just keep fighting all the time as well.
Obsession beats talent, doesn't it?
Yeah. You just got to be busy as well with fighting.
That's right.
You can't like fight 2-3 times a year when you first start out. You're going to be banging out like 6, 7, 8 fights, you know, as much as you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, activity, discipline, and just determination.
Awesome. Well, just to close the show, I like to play a little game with my guests.
What,
and
you
that
saw?
game, it sounds like it, doesn't
Is he
it?
coming out, is he? I want to play a game.
I'd like to play a game. And that game is just to dig a little bit into your subconscious.
Right, go on.
Okay? So I'm going to say one word and you got to reply as quick as you can. Anything that comes into your head after I said that word.
Go on.
And it has to be quick, Jay. All right?
Quick.
Okay. Fight.
Life.
Mentality.
Discipline.
Win.
Lose.
You know what? You have the sharpest answers out of all of the guests. You're the quickest one. All right, we got a couple more. Muay Thai.
Kickboxing.
Kickboxing.
Muay Thai. Oh, you're going to say...
Yeah, that's literally kickboxing. It's like, right, let's go to the next one. Punch.
Kick.
Concussion.
Hurts.
We would know a couple of things about it, wouldn't we? Muay Thai Muppets.
Great.
Oos.
Yes.
Thanks very much for coming
worries,
through.
mate.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on.
Cheers.
Got there in the end, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Eventually.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much for tuning in to MA's podcast. Please like or subscribe, whether you're in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. All right? Have a good one. Take care.